Hey everybody, it's Jasmine and today is day 2 of my Makeup Revolution series. I'm really excited because it's been a hot minute since I've played with some green. Now today's palette of choice is the brand new marijuana palette. Actually, it's called the Chilled palette. Now, honestly, when looking at this palette, the color scheme of the actual component doesn't really match what's inside. In fact, it's an all green palette in here, but you would think it would have purples, pinks, yellows, blues, but it doesn't, which is kind of sad. But you know what? I'm actually really excited to dive into this palette for you guys today. Today is going to be my first time using this. So if you want to see how I got this really nice cut crease, then please keep on watching. All right, everyone, let's go into the complexion. I'm going to do some Catrice products here. I'm going to be using their Keep Me Matte Primer and their HD foundation in the shade Golden Beige. I know a lot of you guys have been seeing me use a Catrice foundation recently, but I am so close to running out of it. I know, I see the bottom, but for some weird reason, it's just not dying. So we are just going to continue using it. And I think for the week, that should be enough time for it to actually run through and be over with. I should also note that I have tried the Makeup Revolution foundations, the Conceal and Define, as well as their new glowy foundation. And I just feel like there is not a shade in that collection that matches me perfectly or is even remotely close. Like I have tried from shade 7 all the way to 10 and all the shades in between as well, because you know they have like 7.5 and then 0.25s. And I just feel like they're too orange or they're too neutral. And whenever I put anything neutral on my skin, it kind of looks a little pink. So that's the reason why I'm not using the foundation and concealers. It's just not my personal preference. Formula wise and color shade wise, I just don't really enjoy it on my skin, but I know a lot of people do. I think for the rest of the series, I'm going to mix 2 different concealers. The first one's going to be the First Aid Beauty Bendy Avocado Concealer in 2.5, and then mixing that in with the Catrice Liquid Camo Concealer in Light Natural. And because you guys see me do my brows all of the frickin' time, I'm just gonna go ahead and do them off camera so that it's out the way. I have so many brow routines on my channel, and within a lot of my makeup tutorials, I actually show my brows, but for the sake of this series, I wanna keep it more focused on the palette itself. So I'm gonna go ahead, skip the brows, and then let's go on into the eyeshadow. So just like yesterday, this one kind of got out of hand. I had an idea. I definitely wanted to do a cut crease, and in my head I intended to do a half cut crease, more of brown, and then the cut crease itself was going to be green. But it turned out to be all green, which is completely fine. I think that this is something definitely new and different for me. And I think it's something fun to try if you've never really played with a lot of color or cut creases. I think it's just fun. So I'm just gonna show you guys how to do this look. Now I'm using one of the brand new Makeup Revolution palettes. This is their Chilled palette with Cannabis Sativa. Yes, the marijuana palette. So this is a very interesting palette because it has a mix of like neutrals, and then it also has the greens. It has a pretty nice selection of matte greens, which I don't see in a lot of palettes. And then it also has some glitters. We're not going to do glitter today. We're just going to stick to a lot of shimmer. So for the actual crease part, we are actually going to play with a lot of these matte neutral shades here. So we are going to start with the shade Relax, which is the lightest nude in this palette, and we are going to go ahead and buff that into the crease just so we have a base for all of the other colors. Now, as I've been playing with this palette, I did notice that this is a little harder to blend than the previous palette. I do find that these colors are very, very pigmented, but as far as it blending, I think it's just green. I think greens are just a really hard color to master because it's so unusual, and most of the time it is patchy. But you know what? All I can really say is to just keep going, keep blending, keep going back and forth with the colors, and just be patient, really. That's the whole trick to it. We're gonna take that cool shade, which is just a little darker, and we're gonna go ahead and pop this into the crease. So I'm getting right into my orbital socket bone area. And then with lighter pressure, we are just gonna blend this up just so it blends out a little bit better. With the darkest matte, we are gonna go ahead and try and get this as low as possible, but we're still gonna go right in that orbital bone area and really deepen it up. Truthfully, on my eye shape, I am not a huge fan of full cut creases like this, but I do think once in a while it is really, really fun to do. And I think the whole art of makeup is just that if you don't like it, you can just wash it off later. And I just love the fact that this series actually encourages me to continue to go outside of my comfort zone, because most of the time I'll just do like my brown and gold smoky eye, but usually for this series I like to try something new and different. So now I'm going to take that same shade, the same dark brown, and I'm going to take that on a pencil brush. And we are going to outline the crease one more time. This one doesn't have to be like super neat because we're going to go back and blend it later, but I just want to concentrate that color right in the crease. With the blending brush, I'm taking the shade Cool, and we are going to go ahead and start blending. I was going to actually stop here, but then I'm actually layering a green right on top just to shift it a little bit more into being more green. It's just that the greens in this palette don't run as emerald, or I guess foresty green, as much as I'd want it to. So adding a dark brown base underneath will do just fine. We're gonna take this shade up here called Plant. We're gonna take that on an angled brush. Can you guys see? We're gonna take that on a small angled brush, and then we are just gonna go right on top. We're just gonna go ahead and blend. Do you see how the color is slightly shifting now to be a little bit more green? We're gonna continue to blend. I'm gonna take a different angled brush, and we're gonna take Leaf, and we are gonna go right in the top area here as more of like a transition shade. And this is where it starts to get very, very messy, because it starts to look unblended. So you want to take your blending brush again, this one, and you're gonna take the Relax shade down here, tap it off, a lot of color off of the brush. You want just like the bare minimum amount of product on here, and you're just gonna go in and blend. And pretty much this entire top part here, you're gonna go back and forth and blend. And that's why I'm saying it's just kind of difficult to work with full cut creases for me personally, because I feel like on my eye shape, it's just so hard. But just be patient and just keep building and going, and you'll get there. So I think right now, because it's getting a little out of hand and I'm not really seeing my vision as well as I should be, I'm actually gonna go ahead and cut my crease, just because I wanna see where I need to add more pigment if I do need to add any. But if I like it after I cut it, then it's fine, it's perfect. I think I'm actually really liking the way it's turning out right now. So we're just gonna go ahead with our shimmers. So I'm gonna section off into threes. So the first third of my eye is going to be Candy Lane right here. The middle or second third is going to be Mist down here. And then we are just gonna do a matte in the outer corner, and that one is going to be Plant again. The shimmers in this palette are pressed in pretty hard, but they still give you a lot of pigment. Pretty nice. So that's the only con about the shimmers that I'd have to say. It's not as buttery smooth as a lot of other palettes on the market, but it's still doable, it's still workable. It's just the texture of it is just a little hard. This is turning out pretty good. I do have a lot of fallout, so keep that in mind. So what I'm gonna do, usually with my cut creases, I love to do something right at that cut. So today, instead of doing a glitter liner like I always do, I'm gonna actually do a matte liner. This one is by Colourpop. This is their The Hills liquid liner. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to outline my entire cut crease and not just the first half. I'm actually going to try and dust off some of this fallout with some of the Makeup Revolution Bacon Blot. Lower lash line is really simple. We're going to start with our Marc Jacobs eyeliner in the shade Whirlpool. And we are just going to go ahead and tightline our entire lower waterline. We're going to take that pencil brush in the shade Burn, and we are going to look up, and we are going to lightly line this right in the lower half of our lash line. Let's go in with a matte green, and let's go ahead and blend right on top of that black, and let's lightly fade it in. So I went ahead and added mascara. So now I'm gonna use these lashes. These are by KinkyMinkyLashes. They're in the style Simple Babe. I'm gonna go ahead and apply these. I actually am using the black ShopMissA glue today. This is my first time using it. Kind of nervous because the last time I did black glue was like, 7 years ago, and it didn't end well. So I've always stuck to clear glue since, but you know what? We've got to try new things, and we got to expand our horizons somehow. I figured out why I don't use black lash glue anymore. So some of the glue came through and it's on my actual eyelid now. And that's a problem for me because it's just, although you don't have to go over your lashes with eyeliner, it's just like, what if it doesn't go on completely even? And that's like my entire issue. You take more time cleaning it up than applying it. Wow, we're finally done with the eyes. That took, I don't know, 3 hours. Just kidding, it didn't take that long. But I think for the face, I might do maybe Too Faced Milk Chocolate, because I feel like the face should just complement the eye look and not be like too intense. Right? Yeah. So whenever I am doing like a bold eye look, I like to make sure that the bronzer, blush, and highlight are a little bit more subdued. Oh, you know what I forgot? Ooh, I am so bad. Oh my god, we have to go back to the eyeshadow. So I forgot the inner corner and brow bone highlight, and I did this in one tutorial like years ago, and I'm traumatized to do it again where I forgot to inner corner highlight, and everyone called me out for it. So we're gonna take the shade Calm, and we are going to apply that into the inner corner real quick, and then we are gonna take that into the brow bone as well. Yes. So what was I saying? I just like making sure that my face is a little bit more subdued so that it can complement the look instead of just making it look like you're too heavy or too bold. But I mean, if you love looking bold, then by all means. It's just that I like having a balance to my face. One thing has to be soft and subtle. Now I'm using the ShopMissA Perfect Blush in the shade Dandy. It's like a cute little salmony coral type shade. I think corals and greens look really good together, so that's why I chose this color in particular, and I'm just shearing it out all over the skin. Then to complement the gold tones that we have on our eyes, we're gonna go with the Laura Geller Gilded Honey. I'm kind of sad that Laura Geller is not going to be sold at Ulta anymore. How sad is that? Like, that's just so, like, where are we gonna get it now? I don't want to get it online. I want to go in stores and I want to touch things and test things out. And I know some of her stuff is at TJ Maxx, but I mean, they're not gonna have a Laura Geller display. Now for lips, we're gonna do the Real Her I Am Confident lip liner with the Makeup Revolution Cashmere lipstick, one of my favorite nudes. All right, everyone, that was my video. I hope you guys all enjoy. I hope this tutorial was easy to follow. There's just a lot of going back and forth with just adding color, blending color, but you know, overall, I feel like cut creases, they just take a lot of time and a lot of practice. So I hope I was able to explain myself clearly in this video. Greens, as I said earlier, are pretty hard to work with. So, you know, if you're ever going into that green realm and you're just frustrated, just keep going. Like, you got this. Just keep going, and you never know how it's gonna turn out until you add those lashes, until you finish your entire face. You just never know how it's going to look in the end. So I hope you guys all enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye! Peace out, Girl Scouts.